Hey there. It's me, Eden. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to my channel and visit my Patreon page for early access, link in the comment, thanks. Yes, agreed Anita. I could hardly believe what I was hearing. I hadn't really given much thought to the specifics of what I might have to wear for this contest, but girls' knickers were certainly not part of what I had in mind. I'm not wearing girls' knickers, I blurted. The two girls stared at me, as if I had said something outrageous. But you might get points deducted if you don't, Anita pointed out. I really can't see them checking up on my underwear, I exclaimed. It didn't say anything about that in the rules of the contest. No, began Nikki patiently, but it did say that you'd be judged on how closely you were following the uniform rules. That's right, agreed Anita. And from what I heard at school yesterday, Nikki went on, because there's so many contestants, they'll be really strict about it. So many contestants, I blurted. Yes, went on Nikki. There's only going to be 10 in the final, remember, and at the last count, there were over 40 entries. 40, exclaimed Anita, blimey. Yes, Nikki continued. So they'll be looking for every way they can of disqualifying people easily, so they don't have to make difficult choices. I can see that, Anita said. I was stunned. I didn't expect there to be as many contestants as that either, but nevertheless, it didn't do anything to take away my horror at the thought of wearing girls' knickers. Well, I still can't see them looking up my skirt to check, I said petulantly. Well, I'm not sure we should take the chance, Anita said, with a worried look on her face. It's better to be safe than sorry, so I think we ought to go with a pair of mine. Yes, agreed Nikki. I was silent. I don't see what all the fuss is about, Anita went on. You'll be wearing a girl's skirt and a bra anyway. Yeah, agreed Nikki. I flinched. I hadn't thought about having to wear a bra either. As well as tights or stockings, Anita went on. I can't see why knickers make that much difference to you. Because, I began, and then ran out of words, because they do. Anita and Nikki looked at each other and shrugged. But there's lots of other advantages in wearing girls' knickers anyway, Anita went on. Such as what? I demanded. Well, she continued, like Nikki said, it means we can get rid of any VPL. Yes, agreed Nikki emphatically. And help stop you bulging out at the front. That's right, said Nikki with emphasis. And there's another advantage as well. What's that? Anita asked. Well, part of the judging for each round is on deportment and stuff like that. Yes. Well, to carry that off well, he's got to feel feminine as well as look it. Oh, that's true, agreed Anita. Now I don't know about you, but I can't see myself feeling very feminine in a pair of pants like those, she went on triumphantly. Oh God, no, agreed Anita. I certainly know that when I'm wearing nice feminine undies, it makes me feel nice and feminine as well. But I don't want to feel feminine, thank you very much, I blurted. Oh Steve, but you do. Anita exclaimed. Yes, it's essential, agreed Nikki. The more you think of yourself as a girl, the better you'll be able to carry this off. That's right, added Anita. I was speechless. They had managed to convince themselves that it was perfectly reasonable for me to wear girls' knickers to this contest, and now they seemed determined to prove it to me. I had no answer to their logic, only a deep-seated horror at the thought of having to do it. I shuddered involuntarily. I tell you what, said Anita, let me go and find you some that would be better than what you've got on. Then you'll know what we're talking about. Yes, good idea, agreed Nikki. Before I could say anything, Anita had run back upstairs. I sat there in silence, brooding on how I could get out of this. I don't see why you're so hung up about wearing knickers, Steve, Nikki said to me. They're not that much different to boys' pants. It's not like wearing a bra, that's nothing like what a boy would wear. They're just more, I was struggling for the words. I don't know, they just are. Well, that's a bit flimsy, Nikki responded. I think they're essential for the contest anyway. Yes, but it's not you that's going to be wearing them, I snapped. What do you mean? She asked, obviously affronted. I wear girls' knickers all the time, I'll have you know. Well, you're a girl. I mumbled. And so are you. At least for the purposes of this. Anita came back down at this point, carrying a bunch of what were obviously going to be knickers, although I couldn't see them too well scrunched up in her hands. Here we are then, she announced brightly. I've sorted out 4 pairs that would probably do. All you have to do is choose which ones you like best, Steve. Or dislike least, I mumbled. She sat down next to me on the settee, and carefully placed the knickers onto the coffee table in front of me. I was horror-struck. Each of the pairs was unnecessarily feminine and fussy. I could possibly have coped with a plain cotton pair of girls' knickers, but these were all outrageous. Well, here we are then. You could have these, she said, picking up the first pair and holding them out so I could see them. They're pink. I gasped in shock. Yes, she agreed, in a matter-of-fact way, they're quite sweet really. I'm not wearing pink knickers. I exclaimed. No way. Anita looked at me quizzically for this outburst. Well, they would hold you in quite nicely. But they're pink. I said again. Pink's a girl's color. And you, said Nikki pointedly, are supposed to be a girl. That's right, agreed Anita. Well, there's no way I'm wearing pink knickers, I asserted again. Anita shrugged. Well, okay, what about these? They're blue. She picked up another pair, which were indeed blue, a pale powder blue with 3 or 4 rows of lace frills on the front. They're nice, volunteered Nikki. They'd suit you. Yes, agreed Anita. They're a bit frilly, I said by way of understatement. Anita held them up higher as if to check. A bit, she conceded, but we did agree that the more girly your clothes were, the more girly you'd feel. Yeah, agreed Nikki emphatically. I think you'd feel nice and girly in those. She giggled at this, as did Anita. Do you want to hold them? She asked me. No. I nearly shouted, and she giggled again. Well, if you don't like those, you could always try these. She put the blue pair down and picked up a white nylon pair. At first glance they were quite plain, but as I looked further, I saw that there was a pale pink heart embroidered onto the front, and 3 little rosebuds in the middle of the heart. Oh, Anita, they're lovely, put in Nikki. I think he'd look really cute in those. I thought so too, Anita added. What do you think, Steve? I stared wide-eyed at her, and then the knickers. What did she expect me to think? They were horrible. I can't wear those. I exclaimed. Why not? Anita asked me, innocently. Because again I was lost for words. Because I can't. That's not a very good reason, Nikki pointed out. Anita shrugged and put the white knickers back down. Well, the only other ones are these, she said, picking up the last pair. They were basically white nylon as well, but were patterned all over with jolly little flowers in multicolors. I looked closer and saw that they had no sides, just a front and back. I hated these as well. They're nice too, Anita, Nikki observed. Thanks, Anita responded. He might look quite good in these as well, don't you think? I think he'd look adorable. Do you like them, Steve? Anita asked me. Not really, I responded. I'm not sure flowers are quite my cup of tea. But you'd look sweet in them, Anita continued. You could at least try them on to see. Yes, agreed Nikki. You could try them on one at a time, so we could decide which ones suited you best. Oh, what a great idea, Anita said, obviously warming to the theme. Come on, Steve, put these ones on first. She held out the flowery knickers for me to take, but I did not do so. I don't want to try any of them on, thank you, I replied. Haven't you got anything a bit less? I struggled to find the right word. Well, girly. Not really, Anita answered. Not that would hold you in nice and tight. Anyway, beggars can't be choosers, Nikki added. If you're going to borrow a pair of Anita's knickers, you ought to be grateful for whatever she gives you. Come on, Steve, begged Anita, try these on. It won't take that long, and it'll be worth it if it means we can make sure you have the perfect knickers. Yeah, agreed Nikki. She proffered the knickers to me again. I hesitated. There seemed no way I was going to get out of at least trying them on. Still, I reasoned, if they saw how ridiculous I would look in the knickers, at least I might get some peace. Slowly, I moved my hand and took the knickers from Anita. The nylon felt cold and odd in my hand. Oh, excellent, Anita enthused. I'm so pleased, Steve. She leant over and kissed me on the cheek again. I felt myself blush and hoped that the makeup Nikki had put on me would hide the fact. Come on then, urged Nikki. Get those horrible things there off and put your new knickers on. I looked aghast at the knickers in my hand, with their pretty little flowers looking back at me. Suddenly something else occurred to me. I can't put them on here. I'm not stripping naked in front of you too. They both laughed. What a shy little flower, Nikki observed. It's like we said before, Steve, Anita went on, we're all girls together here. Once you start thinking of yourself as a girl, it won't be a problem anymore. No, agreed Nikki. I'm not sure I want to think of myself as a girl, I mumbled. But you have to, Anita exclaimed. So you can carry yourself properly and stuff like that. Yeah, deportment, agreed Nikki. Well, whatever, I grumbled. I'm still not stripping naked in front of you too. Nikki shook her head in disbelief. Well, I suppose if you really want to, Anita said slowly, you could put them on out in the hallway. We promise we won't peek. No, agreed Nikki, at least, if you quick we won't. Is that all right, Steve? Asked Anita. I was crestfallen. I'd rather hope that my embarrassment at being naked would have led to the whole idea being dropped. Now I had run out of excuses for not putting the knickers on. Still I hesitated. Come on, Steve. Get them on, urged Anita, laughing. Oh, that's good, exclaimed Nikki. Like a stripper, only the other way around. They both giggled. Slowly I stood up, with the knickers still in my hand, and made my way towards the door. I had been completely outmaneuvered by the girls on this, there was no way out now. I stepped out into the hall and shut the door behind me. I looked at the knickers again, the little flowers stared back at me, and I noticed for the first time that the edges had frills on them. I pulled a face. There was nothing for it though, I had to put them on. I slipped my pants off and flung them to one side, stopping to sigh. I looked at the knickers again and shook my head. How had I got myself into this? Gingerly, I bent down and slipped one leg into them and then the other. I looked at them as they lay around my ankles in disgust. What would my friends say about this, I wondered. Sighing again, I bent down and started to pull them up. They slid past my knees and up my thighs. Grimacing with embarrassment, I pulled them into place and stared at myself. They felt strange, sort of cold, but clammy. I had never worn nylon underwear before. It felt odd too, to have just thin strips of elastic, albeit covered in tiny frills, across my legs. Looking down, my manhood was now covered in pretty little flowers that were holding it tight against my body. I shuddered at the sight and thought of it all. "Come on, Steve," came a voice from the room I had just left. "You must be done by now. Come in so we can see." "All right," I managed to say. I was dreading this. I walked to the room door and put my hand on the handle. For a second I could not bring myself to open it, but I knew that this was just delaying the inevitable. Steeling myself, I opened the door and walked through. Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access. Link in the comment. Thanks.